got a lot of stuff to talk about, specifically about Axie Infinity's economy and how to save SLP, because I think that I have some really good solutions, and I want to talk about how we can really solve the economy of Axie Infinity to ensure that we can go back to the days back in 2021 when you could easily earn over $10 a day playing Axie Infinity. I think it's totally possible to get back to that point. So I'm going to be looking at a developer journal that the Axie developers that Sky Mavis recently released about balancing the Axie economy. I'll be looking at some of their short-term solutions that they're proposing and why we just need to throw those out the window and actually start to implement some of these long-term solutions. So if this video sounds good to you, by the way, I'll bring all new people into this as well. So even if you don't really know that much about Axie yet, I'll explain kind of how it all works to catch you up so that you can follow this video. So yeah, if that sounds good to you, remember to drop a big thumbs up on this video, as that will help it out in the YouTube algorithm. Also hit subscribe, and now let's get into it. So it wasn't that long ago, like I mentioned in the intro, when I created a video early 2021 about how much I could earn playing Axie Infinity. And I think I was one of the first YouTubers, maybe the second YouTuber, to start making videos about Axie Infinity after Kagijan. And I thought it was such a cool game that I have literally helped onboard, with my brother's help, over 500,000 people into Axie Infinity. One of our first videos that I made, which was a complete beginner's guide on Axie Infinity, has like 600,000 views, which is really cool. But it seems like Axie Infinity's days of exploding are kind of in the past, and we've hit a little bit of a stale period where the value of SLP has now fallen quite a bit from its highs. It's now trading a little over 2 cents, and who knows if it's even going to maintain that value. And for those of you guys who are new, SLP losing its value is a really big deal for the Axie Infinity economy, because when you're playing Axie Infinity, you're rewarded with SLP for winning matches. So if the thing that you're getting rewarded with when you win a match loses its value, then the value of playing the game starts to drop as well. And that's kind of what has started to happen. But we need to look a little bit deeper and find out, well, what is causing the value of SLP to drop, and how do we get that value to come back long term? How do we add value to SLP? So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna read the Axie Infinity team's thoughts on this that they just released, and then I'll be sharing some of my thoughts on their thoughts and help explain how we can really fix Axie Infinity, because I think that Axie Infinity still has its brightest days ahead, and hopefully by the end of this video, you guys will feel the same way. I think that Axie Infinity just still has a ton of potential, and the economy is totally fixable. So let's jump into the developer's blog and see what they're thinking about as far as balancing the Axie economy goes. Starting off with the history, they talk about how they released SLP as a utility token back in December of 2019. These evolutions in SLP's use, in tandem with the explosive growth of 2021, has driven both incredible growth in the liquidity as well as some of the fundamental inflation in the token over time. And this inflation of the token is part of the key factors that has been driving down the price of SLP. Because remember, as there's more and more players playing SLP, winning SLP with every single battle, that means there's just way more SLP getting distributed. And when you just keep on distributing a coin, well, the total supply of that coin keeps going up. And when the total supply of a coin continues to inflate, well, that's not very good for the price of that coin. They show us this little chart here that shows how much SLP is getting burned, which is the blue line, how much SLP is getting minted, which is the red line. And you can see that the amount getting minted every day is quite a bit higher than the amount that gets burned every day, which means that on net, the total amount of SLP supply is continuing to increase. As hopefully you all know, we are working on a number of new gaming experiences, including the next generation of our battles experience, Origins, and a new land based gaming experience called Project K. So each of these games will include a number of new features that will affect the economy balance. So this is really important to remember. Then the article continues, however, we want to reassure you that we are looking to prioritize experimenting with short-term approaches towards managing SLP's inflation in the new year. So this last sentence, I really don't like that much. I think most of the short-term approaches that they have, most of these short-term ideas are not actually going to solve the core problem at all. But let's get into these. I really wish they would put all their effort towards really speeding up these long-term solutions. That's going to be my take throughout the rest of this video. SLP economics evolves with changes to its supply and demand. And I would go even further and say that its economic value evolves with its utility, its actual real use cases that bring value to players. And one of its main use case, its only real use case right now, is creating more Axies. But the problem is that Axies also have an inflation problem, and because you have to burn AXS as well, a lot of people are just deciding, you know, why turn my one inflating asset into another inflating asset when I have to burn AXS to do that, when I'd rather just hold my AXS. And it does make sense. So one of the problems is the only real utility of SLP, a lot of people aren't really choosing to use it for, because Axies are losing their value too. So that is one of the main real solutions that has to get solved, the Axie inflation rate, in order for SLP's value to go up. Because when the number of Axies stops inflating so much and the value of Axies comes up, a lot more people are going to start burning their SLP in order to create those Axies, because they're going to have value to sell the Axies. Let's keep on reading some of what their ideas are for short-term solutions. So decreasing supply is one of the main things that they're focusing on. For most players, most of these short-term changes is actually going to be reducing the amount that you can earn, and it's only the best players that are going to be able to continue earning. And Axie Infinity is kind of changing with these short-term changes from a play to earn game to a win or be highly competitive to earn game, which is not the same thing at all. It doesn't reward all players for participating in the ecosystem. And I think that these short-term solutions actually harm the game a lot, which is one of the reasons we just need to throw them in the trash can and actually fix the game with long-term solutions. And yeah, that's really how I feel. All right, let's move down to their next short-term solution, which is reduce SLP produced through non-skilled automated botting techniques. So this is once again, just let's reduce the amount that players can earn. It seems like Axie Infinity can't really determine who's botting and who's not. So they're just assuming anyone who's not super good at the game is a bot. And I don't think that's a good assumption. And it's going to cause them to make bad decisions. They do need KYC. They do need to stop botting, but I have a much better long-term solution that I'm going to share near the end of this video than this solution that they're proposing here. And I'm not trying to crap on Axie Infinity. I really want this to succeed. I'm just crapping on these short-term solutions because they're not real solutions. Let's talk about their solutions of increasing demand. Now this side, some of these are actually real long-term solutions. So they give us two here, but the first is Axie releasing burning consumption. Yes, I've been talking about this a lot. This definitely needs to get implemented. So let's read what they have to say here. This is a very significant feature that we have to be very careful around and take significant engineering effort to build. And I do want to keep that in mind. So guys, the timeline of this, as long as they're working hard on it, it's okay if it takes some time to implement long-term solutions, but the effort should be focused on these real long-term solutions. However, we plan on releasing some smaller tests this year to be able to validate the mechanic iteratively. So that's good. Since the primary utility of SLP is to create new Axies, having this burning mechanism for Axies would increase demand of SLP and AXS. And this is true, and this is a long-term solution. Now, what's important with this solution is that you're giving players some other kind of value to incentivize players to actually burn their Axies. So for For example, giving you resources for upgrading your land, or giving you the ability or resources to upgrade another Axie's parts more. And I think that this is absolutely great and adds more depth to the economy and is going to add more value to the utility of SLP, which is to mint new Axies. When there is less Axie inflation because people are destroying Axies or releasing them, then the value of the remaining Axies goes up, the utility of Axies goes up, and the utility and value of SLP goes up. And this is more of a long-term solution. Let's give the economy more depth here, more robustness, and add more utility, which is value to the entire ecosystem. This is good. This is really good. This is one of the things that should be focused on a lot. Okay. Next, community SLP buyback. So they say that we may allocate some of the marketplace fee for a limited time to buy back SLP in the market into the treasury. This would only be done in unique circumstances, as maintaining the fee is important to sustainability of the community treasury. So this is kind of interesting. Axie Infinity is kind of saying like, we'll kind of work like the Fed in the real economy, where, like, if you guys don't know, the Fed in the United States, when the COVID crisis happened, started buying debt, started buying government debt and company debt as a way to ensure that there was a lot of liquidity so that companies didn't go out of business and stuff like that. So the Axie Infinity team is kind of saying, well, we can use the community treasury kind of like the Fed, and we can buy SLP when it's really, really cheap in order to ensure that there is a floor to the price of SLP. And while this sounds good and it can help, I guess, it's not a long-term solution. I don't think this is a good idea unless this is something that they would be willing to do long-term, like maybe a certain percentage of, like, maybe don't make it the whole amount, because they say that maintaining the fee is important to the sustainability of the community treasury. So make it like a smaller amount so you can still have some of that fee for the treasury, but buy back some amount of SLP every single day based on the volume, like a small percentage that still allows for everything else to work, could provide some long-term demand and value to SLP. But once again, this only matters if the economy does stay sustainable or is made sustainable in another way. So then in the rest of this article, they just talk about how they want to hear from us. They don't promise they're going to implement all of these things, but they might implement some. So now let me share some of my personal perspective on how we can really fix the value of SLP, how we can really balance the Axie economy and make this work, make the assets that players own work. So I'm really excited about this part. So in order to most quickly go over some of my opinions and solutions here on how we can make this work long term, I'm going to go over a tweet thread that I just recently posted, because it's going to allow me to be a little bit quicker in this part and really get across everything that I'm saying more succinctly. So by the way, you can follow me on Twitter at Jake Browatsky if you want to see the things that I'm tweeting about NFT gaming, play to earn, and the metaverse, and also Tesla a little bit. All right, so I tweeted, short-term solutions to Axie's economy are not solutions. To increase SLP value, ignore short-term fixes and implement long-term solutions as soon as possible. Below are some of my ideas on how to cure Axie's economy long-term instead of putting on more band-aids. And this is really what I feel. So first, Axie burning, releasing. We talked about this quite a bit in their article, so we don't need to harp on it much, but it does create fresh demand for SLP burning while creating a sink to push against Axie inflation. This can be incentivized through Axie part upgrading, getting land resources, even before Lunacia's release. I think this is possible. Number 2, long-term solution, real cure. Provide more utility for SLP. This will increase SLP burn rate, SLP value, while reducing the percentage of SLP used to breed Axies, lowering the Axie inflation rate. So essentially, you let SLP get used for more than just breeding Axies. Let it get used for some other stuff, and less of the SLP is going to go towards breeding Axies, so less Axies are going to get bred. This reduces the amount of Axie inflation, and also it allows for more burning of SLP, because now there's some other things that you can burn SLP in order to do. SLP, for example, could unlock unlock cosmetics, or be wagered to increase the stakes of PvP matches, with some percentage burned, of course, as examples. So now let's talk about the number 3 long-term solution. This number 3 solution is increase the value of normal Axies to increase the value of SLP. Now, what do I mean by this? So one of the things I mean is that you can increase like normal Axie value by making normal Axies more collectible. So maybe add season collections and other factors to make Axies born during different seasons more rare, which would allow for this example, which is that there will never be another year 2 Axie. So like the number of year 2 Axies, it's capped. Year 2 is over. There's never going to be another year 2 Axie bred. Now all year 2 Axies become collectible instead of just one of millions and millions and millions and millions of Axies that are all the same besides the number that's in front of them. Make Axies more collectible, makes them more desirable, and increases the value of new Axies that are bred. For example, you could have the first Axie bred or born in season 3 or something like that, which would be really cool. Number 4, add full KYC, which just stands for know your customer. So add full know your customer to unlock earning. So as a possible idea, identification required to work in each country could be necessary to unlock SLP earning on an account. This will kill botting and ensure 1 account per user. This is the long-term solution to kill botting. If someone wants to run a bot, at least they can only run 1 because they have to have an ID, prove it's them, prove who they are, their identity, in order to farm SLP. This, I think, is a really important change. I'm not saying that this possible idea on KYC is the one they have to implement, but some better kind of know their customer to ensure that someone's not running 100 bot accounts is the way to stop botting, not by making Axie Infinity only finish in the top 1,000 to earn anything. Because guess what? League of Legends is already like that, and it's not even a blockchain game. That way you can keep the entire ecosystem play to earn while ensuring that bots aren't ruining it for everyone else. Number 5. One of the biggest improvements necessary for long-term economic sustainability is more fun. Now, this might sound a little strange, let me explain, but this is why I am so glad that Sky Mavis, the creators of Axie Infinity, have been so focused on Project K, which is land gameplay, and Battles version 2, which is Origin, because more fun equals more money inflow into the economy. So more fun means more people want to have their money in this fun theme park or in this fun country, in this fun metaverse. If everyone wants out because it's not fun, everything someone earns, they just withdraw, then the economy deflates very naturally, value leaves, and everything becomes less valuable. This is kind of what Axie Infinity has experienced. But when there's more fun in a metaverse, people want their resources there because they want to be able to do things there. They want to matter there. And that is how you keep value in an economy. So more fun is one of the biggest solutions, and Axie Infinity is definitely doing this one. So big ups for that. So then finally, I just said when the economics and fun of owning Axies is good enough that most people have no desire to withdraw their asset value out of Axie, the value held within Lunacia will really start to grow. So will the value of SLP. I'm really rooting for Jiho, Psych Out, and I am rooting for the entire Axie team. So guys, I think that the economy of Axie Infinity, the trajectory of Axie Infinity is on the up and up. I think it's very possible that we're kind of near the bottom, but only if these long-term solutions are implemented. So to sum it all up, there's just 3 things that need to happen in order for Axie's economy to really start booming. 1, increase the utility, increase the burn rates of SLP, make it used for more things, essentially make it more desirable to burn it and turn it into more things, and Axie Infinity's SLP value is going to increase and the inflation rate is going to decrease, and that is going to increase the value. Second thing, increase the utility and burn rate of Axies themselves. These two things are once again going to cause the inflation rate of Axies to decrease, and it will cause the value of Axies to increase, which is also going to cause the value of SLP to increase. And then third and finally, increase the fun of being in Lunacia, because fun is going to cause people to want their assets to live inside this metaverse. And I think that if these three things are changed and implemented and these long-term solutions are implemented, then Axie Infinity is still a rocket ship and its best days are still ahead of it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, leaving a big thumbs up signifies to me that you guys want more content on Axie Infinity and that you enjoy this type of in-depth video into a game's economy and how it works and how it can work better for all the players in a game's ecosystem. And also dropping those big thumbs up on the video helps it get recommended in the YouTube algorithm and really helps us out as creators. And then also over 70% of you guys who watch my content are not subscribed yet. So if you just watched this whole video and you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Make sure you hit subscribe and click that notification bell so that you do not miss any future content. This channel is focused on the future of the metaverse, on play to earn worlds and working in the metaverse. It's just really cool. And if you want to continue learning about it and staying up to date with the space, being subscribed is a really great idea. Also, a lot of you guys don't know, I am currently writing a book on the play to earn revolution with Dr. Bulls, who is a history professor. And if you want to sign up to know when that book is released, then look in the description for the link. You can sign up at readyplayerearn.io, and it's going to be a player's handbook to walk you through playing to earn in the metaverse. And I think it's going to be really helpful to a lot of you. And then finally, thank you to all of our incredible Patreon supporters. If you guys don't know, we have an exclusive on-chain gaming Discord for all supporters of the channel. And if you want to find that Discord, you can support us on Patreon, linked below. I would love to talk to you there. Thank you guys so much for supporting the creation of our content. You guys are the MVPs. As most of you know, I don't make these videos by myself. Nate, my brother, edits these videos and does an awesome job at that. Josh, our friend, does the original intro and outro music and also runs our second channel, On-Chain Gaming Clips, which you guys can find linked below, and he does an awesome job at that. So thank you guys for enabling the creation of this content by supporting us. And until next time, everyone, have fun roaming the metaverse.